Hey there, Internet! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into something anime rarely gets right, but when it does, it hits different. We're talking about anime with adult MCs. Yeah, that means no more high schoolers yelling about friendship or eating toast while running to class. We're out here in the real world, where characters pay rent, have existential crises, and get absolutely wrecked by life in their 20s, 30s, and beyond. Honestly, we need more of that. Anime usually focuses on teens figuring themselves out, but what happens when you've already done the growing up part and life's still hard? That's where these shows come in. They explore the messy stuff: career burnout, mental health, broken relationships, loneliness, chasing dead dreams, all that soul-searching, what am I even doing with my life energy that hits way too close to home at 2 a.m. So in this video, we're gonna go through 11 anime that don't just tell great stories, they tell grown-up ones. Each one brings something different to the table, whether it's social commentary, emotional healing, or just the sheer chaos of being an adult who still watches anime and screams at gotcha polls. So, you know the drill. Drop-kick that like button like it just ghosted you after 3 dates, subscribe so you don't miss the next list of anime heartbreak, and comment your favorite adult anime below. I'll be lurking in the replies. All right, enough yapping. Let's get into it.
Okay, so welcome to the NHK is that one anime that hits way too close to home if you've ever had a phase of staying inside too long, skipping class, dodging calls, or just spiraling in your own brain like, yup, it's me versus the world now. The story's all about this dude, Tatsuhiro Sato, 22 years old, college dropout, and full-on hikikomori mode activated. Like 4 years deep into unemployment, no job, no real friends, just him, his thoughts, and this paranoid idea that his whole situation is part of a big, shady conspiracy by a group called the Nihon Hikikomori Kyokai, or NHK. Yeah, not the TV station NHK. Nah, he made this one up in his mind, thinking there's an actual organization that's been scheming to make people become shut-ins. That's wild, but also kind of relatable. So anyway, out of nowhere, this girl, Misaki Nakahara, pops up, mysterious, low-key sus. She's like, I can fix you. Cue the memes, and just like that, she becomes his so-called therapist in this chaotic mess of a journey where we see Tatsuhiro slowly and painfully try to re-enter society. But this show doesn't just throw surface-level drama at you. Nah, it digs into depression, anxiety, self-worth, social isolation, internet subcultures, and yeah, even dark stuff like internet suicide pacts. Like, this isn't some quirky slice of life with a neat bow at the end. This is the anime equivalent of staring into a void and the void roasting you back. Now, what really makes this show land hard? The realism. You got Kaoru, Yamazaki, Sato's old classmate and otaku neighbor. He's basically the only semi-stable force in Sato's life, even though he's also deep in his own anime rabbit hole. But their convos? So natural. Like, not anime dub awkward. These feel like real people talking about their messy lives, their obsessions, their fears. There's this one big vibe here that hits different. The whole, I'm in a hole and I think I like it here, but also I hate it energy. The NHK conspiracy? It's not even about NHK. It's just Sato's brain making an enemy he can actually fight, because the real enemy, depression, loneliness, failure, feels too big and invisible. And that's fucking real. From the fan side of things, people call it brilliant, and honestly, they're not wrong. The show doesn't lecture you or act all high and mighty about mental health. It's like, here's this guy. He's struggling. You might be too. Let's walk through this shit together. There are folks who say watching Sato's breakdowns, spirals, and baby steps helped them get out of bed. Legit. One Redditor even said it made them feel less alone in their own struggle. That's the kind of impact this anime has. It's not just entertainment, it's low-key therapy for some people. Also, here's a fun little trivia bite. That NHK name? Yeah, it's a wordplay, because in Japan, NHK is their national broadcasting network. Kind of like BBC in the UK or PBS in the US, but in Sato's version, it's some brainwashing group. So the show is literally playing with that irony, taking something public and trusted and flipping it into this personal monster in his head. Oh, and fun fact, there's a novel, manga, and anime adaptation, and all three go a little differently. Like in the novel, they straight up mention drug use, which the anime toned down. So if you want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes, the other versions give extra flavor.
But yeah, why is this anime even on a list about adult anime? Because Sato's struggles are very adult. This ain't your high school love triangle nonsense. It's about being in your 20s, feeling like life left you behind, staring at the ceiling wondering what the hell you're doing with your life. He's got real-world problems, unemployment, mental illness, fear of failure, self-doubt. Like, bro's not dodging homework, he's dodging reality. This is existential dread, the anime. So why should you watch this? Because it's real, uncomfortably real sometimes. It paints a brutally honest picture of what it means to feel lost in adulthood. The characters, super fleshed out. The dialogues don't feel scripted, they feel like shit you've probably said to yourself at 2 a.m. The themes, they hit different when you're in your 20s or 30s trying to figure out why your life doesn't look like the brochure. Plus, the whole hikikomori and NEET culture is a big issue in Japan, and this show dives into that head first. It explores how modern life can isolate people, how obsessions can become prisons, and how sometimes the only way out of your head is to let someone in. So imagine this. You start a new office job, trying to play it cool, act normal, look presentable, and keep your, let's say, aggressively geeky interests under wraps. But then, boom, your childhood friend shows up, and not only does he know all your secrets, he's also one of us. That's Wotakoi in a nutshell. Narumi Momose, our main girl, is 26, works in an office, and is a full-blown fujoshi, a BL-loving, idol-worshipping, otome game-playing nerd. And honestly, same girl. But she tries to hide all of it at work, cause, you know, society be judging. That is until she bumps into Hirotaka Nifuji, her quiet, hot game otaku coworker, who's just out here clocking in and leveling up his MMO healer. And he couldn't care less about hiding it. Now, the story kicks off when Hirotaka basically goes, "Why don't we just date? We're both otaku, it'd be convenient." Like, bruh, romance speedrun any percent? Let's go. Their relationship is this fun, chill, sometimes awkward, but mostly wholesome journey of two nerds just trying to make dating work. And honestly, it's refreshing as hell. There's none of that high school, do they like me drama. Just two grown adults trying to juggle work, hobbies, and emotions. You get secondhand embarrassment, you get fluffy moments, you get nerdy bickering about who's the better couple, BL ships, or straight up RPG OTPs. And bonus, their friends, Kabakura and Koyanagi, are an older couple, already dating for years, and they bring peak married couple but not married energy. Like, these two argue like they've been together since Windows XP dropped, and it's gold every time. Okay, quick break here, because this show absolutely slaps when it comes to representation of adult relationships. And I don't mean the dramatic, angsty, my ex is now dating my mom's cousin type of drama. I mean real stuff. Stuff like, how do I talk about my weird interests without scaring someone off? Or can I be my full self around the person I love? The cast isn't out here catching magical powers or getting isekai'd. They're just normal-ass adults, trying to figure out if being a grown-up and being a weeb can coexist without tanking your love life. Spoiler? It can, and it's hilarious. Now, people loved this series. The manga sold 10 million copies, it won awards, it was top-ranked in Kono Manga ga Sugoi, which is basically Japan's, hey, read this shit, it's good list. And the anime? People gave it a 9 out of 10 for just being real. No exaggerated teen angst, no love triangles, just nerds in love at work, dealing with adult stuff like buying figures and hiding your BL stash from your boss. Also, Narumi's voice actress? Absolute queen energy. The way she flips from normal office lady to unhinged fangirl mid-sentence is peak acting. Give her all the awards. Oh, fun fact time here. This anime started as a webcomic on Pixiv, like straight up grassroots style. The creator, Fujita, was just vibing on the internet like the rest of us, and then boom, manga serialization, anime, live action movie, everything. And yo, the anime sneaks in references like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Pokemon Go, like little extra Easter eggs for the culture. Plus, there are OVAs, and that live-action film actually debuted #1 at the box office. Kind of wild how a show about nerdy adults just trying to flirt through gacha rolls and con dates ended up dominating theaters. So what makes Wotakoi stand out in this list of adult anime? Easy. It's one of the rare anime that shows nerds being grown-ups. Like full-on, rent-paying, deadline-hitting, meeting-attending adults who just happen to argue over best ships and cosplay schedule. They're not hiding in basements or fighting off trauma, okay, maybe low-key trauma from gacha rolls. They're just navigating love and life while also loving nerdy shit. And you know what? That's a big deal.
Anime is full of school-age love stories, but this is what happens after high school, when you gotta worry about office etiquette and whether you should confess that your browser history is 80% fanfiction. So, why should you watch it? Because it's funny, relatable, and honestly kind of comforting. It tells you that, yeah, being into weird stuff doesn't mean you're doomed to be alone. That you can find someone who matches your vibe, even if that vibe is arguing over Final Fantasy ships at 2 a.m. Plus, it's proof that grown-up romance doesn't need to be boring or overly serious. It can be dumb, cute, hilarious, and full of inside jokes only the two of you get. Whether you're a BL reader, a gacha addict, a cosplay nerd, or just an introvert with a love for rhythm games, this anime gets it.
Okay, picture this. It's 2006, you're a kid, and you see a UFO zip across the sky. You look over at your little brother, and the two of you are like, bet, we're both gonna be astronauts. Fast forward to 2025, your little bro, he's prepping for a mission to the moon. You're unemployed, washed up, and living with your mom. That's Space Brothers, in a nutshell. The main dude here is Muta Nanba, and yo, he's not some bright-eyed anime teen with infinite energy. He's in his late 30s, got a receding hairline, some washed dreams, and a resume full of almosts. Meanwhile, his younger brother, Hibito, is straight up a JAXA astronaut about to walk on the freaking moon. And this isn't a petty sibling rivalry kind of thing. Nah, it's deeper. It's about what happens when real life sucker punches your dreams and you gotta decide whether to stay down or get back up. So here's where it hits different. Most anime are all about teenagers with potential. Space Brothers, it's about adults with regrets. Muta spent years letting the world convince him he wasn't good enough, smart enough, whatever enough. But then, out of nowhere, he gets accepted into this astronaut training program. Like, bro's been down bad for years, and suddenly he's back in the game. What follows is this long, challenging, and honestly inspiring-ass journey of him grinding to prove he still has what it takes. It's not fast, it's not flashy, but it's real. You see him struggle, grow, self-doubt, push through, fail, try again. Like, it's all very human. It's giving Rocky Balboa energy, but with more science and way less punching. Now, critics, yeah, they loved it. The manga won hella awards. Shogakukan Manga Award, Kodansha Manga Award, the freaking Tezuka Ozuma Cultural Prize, and racked up 28 million plus copies sold. That's not small potatoes. The anime ran for 99 episodes. Yeah, it's a commitment, but it's so worth it. People praise it for being uplifting, relatable, and full of really well-written characters. Like, you get this whole cast of aspiring astronauts, and everyone's got their own dreams, fears, and messy baggage. Even the side characters get fleshed out. Now, yeah, okay, the animation early on is kinda meh. It's not bad, just basic. Stiff character movements, a few still shots, too many, but yo, when they get to the moon scenes, chef's kiss. Totally makes up for it. Also, little fun facts here. It's set in the near future, 2025, so it's just sci-fi enough to feel cool, but still grounded. And they brought in real space agencies like JAXA, NASA, and Roscosmos to make everything super accurate. They even got advice on how to do surgery in zero gravity. Like, that's some wild dedication. The author's name? Chuya Koyama. And here's the kicker. The character for Chu in his name literally means space. Dude was destined for this story. And get this, because of this anime, fans started something called the Serica Fund, named after one of the characters, to raise money for ALS research. So yeah, this anime literally helped fight disease in real life. That's legendary. Alright, so what makes this anime sit so comfortably in this adult anime lineup? Simple. Muta is grown as hell. He's out here dealing with stuff like unemployment, feeling like a failure, trying to get back on track, and constantly comparing himself to a younger sibling who already made it. That's some peak adult insecurity. You don't get that in your typical high school anime. This is, I'm pushing 40 and my dreams still matter type energy. And why should you watch it? Because it's real as hell, man. If you've ever felt like you missed your shot or that it's too late to start something new, this show is like a warm hug and a gentle slap that says, shut up and go for it. It shows you that dreams don't expire, that it's okay to fall behind, that chasing your dream is going to take time, pain, setbacks, and that's all part of the process. Muta's journey isn't some believe-in-yourself fairy tale. It's gritty, it's frustrating, but it's beautiful and it pays off. Also, there's a character in his mid-50s training to go to space too, so the whole show's message is like, hey, age doesn't mean a damn thing if your heart's still in it.
All right, buckle up. Next stop, Planetes.
If Space Brothers was about chasing your dreams into orbit, Planetes is about realizing that even when you get to space, life can still kind of suck. But in the most realistic, grounded, and surprisingly emotional way possible. Okay, so imagine you're working in outer space. Sounds awesome, right? Like ISS selfies, floating around like you're in Interstellar, all that good stuff. Now imagine your job is picking up space trash. Yep, that's Planetes. It follows Hachirota Hachimaki Hoshino, a dude who's out in 2075 working for the debris section, basically the garbage men of Earth's orbit. Him and his crew work for this megacorp called Technora, cleaning up old satellites and junk so they don't crash into stuff and cause full-on Kessler syndrome. So yeah, not exactly glamorous. But that's the point. Planetes is all about the grit, bureaucracy, and mental toll of doing the dirty work of space exploration. Think The Office, but in orbit, and everyone's one mistake away from instant death. Now, Hachimaki, bro's got big dreams. He doesn't want to be picking up bolts and space coffee cups forever. He wants to own his own spaceship one day. Sounds cool, but the climb is rough. Then enters Ai Tanabe, the idealistic rookie who's all sunshine and friendship bracelets, believing love can solve everything. And Hachimaki, he's like, girl please. This job sucks and space is trying to kill us, so naturally they butt heads and slowly develop that spicy enemies to maybe something more vibe. Oh, and let's not forget Fee Carmichael. Chain-smoking, badass pilot, and easily one of the best written working moms in anime. Love her. So, why does the show hit different? Because it's hard sci-fi done right. They went all in on realism. JAXA, Japan's actual space agency, helped out. The orbital physics are on point. They even got interviews with NASA debris experts on the US DVD release. Like, this ain't your usual pew-pew anime. There's no space mechs or aliens, just real problems like radiation exposure, corporate politics, and mental breakdowns in zero-G. There's even a whole subplot about a terrorist group called the Space Defense Front, who are like, screw colonizing space when people on Earth are still starving. And you're like, damn, they kind of have a point. Critics, they ate this up. The show got mad praise for being thoughtful, smart, and philosophically rich. It won the Seiyun Award, basically Japan's Hugo for sci-fi. People love how it balances humor, politics, existentialism, and emotional storytelling all in one. That said, it's not perfect. Some folks say the early pacing's slow, the animation isn't exactly A tier, and certain characters start off kind of annoying. Hachimaki, looking at you. But trust me, it builds. By the end, you're emotionally invested in a job about space janitors. Like, how? Also, one super interesting thing, the main resolution to the whole series doesn't even come from Hachimaki going full shonen hero and saving the day. It's just people talking, compromising, negotiating, which sounds boring, but it's actually super refreshing. Like, yo, that's real life. Sometimes it's not about the dramatic explosion, it's about two adults sitting down and figuring shit out. And it makes sense, right? The whole cast is grown. Hachimaki and Fee are both working-class adults dealing with burnout, trauma, office politics. One of them even has deep space disorder, which is like astronaut PTSD. This is adult stuff. Existential crises, emotional numbness, moral dilemmas. Not, will senpai notice me? More like, can I survive another day doing this soul-sucking job in a vacuum of death? So yeah, Planetes deserves a spot on any adult anime list. Why? Because it shows that adulthood isn't about giant victories. It's about tiny, meaningful ones. It's about doing thankless jobs with integrity, fighting back burnout, and still daring to dream of something bigger, even if it feels hopeless. And it shows all that through the lens of trash collection in space, and still makes you cry. If that ain't peak anime excellence, I don't know what is.
All right, we're leaving orbit and crash landing straight into the frozen, chaotic wilderness of Hokkaido. Yep, it's time for the absolute insanity that is Golden Kamuy. If Planetes was a slow burn with space politics, Golden Kamuy is like eating raw meat with a side of gunpowder while being chased by a bear. Let's get into it. So picture this. It's early 1900s Japan, right after the Russo-Japanese War, and our main man Saichi Sugimoto, aka Sugimoto the Immortal, is just out here trying to pan for gold and mind his business. He's got scars, trauma, and the survival instincts of a cockroach. Dude legit refuses to die. Why is he out here struggling in the freezing wilds of Hokkaido? Because he made a promise to his war buddy to take care of his widow. Simple, honorable, but also broke. So when he hears about a hidden stash of Ainu gold that's worth a fortune, he's like, hey yo, this could be the move. Here's the catch. The map to the treasure is tattooed onto the backs of 24 escaped prisoners, like some anime-ass prison break version of One Piece. And these aren't your regular prisoners. No, they're all certifiably insane in wildly different, terrifying, sometimes hilarious ways. Enter a Sirpa. Best girl, best tracker, best everything. She's a young Ainu girl who saves Sugimoto from getting turned into bear chow early on. Her motivation? Revenge. Her dad was one of the original miners betrayed in the gold heist, but a Sirpa's also got morals. She's like, let's do this without killing if we can. Tsukimoto's more of a slice now, ask later kind of guy. So yeah, great duo entered. They team up, and what follows is this completely off-the-rails treasure hunt across snow-covered forests, enemy camps, sketchy villages, and bear-infested caves. But yo, don't let the insanity fool you. This anime is weirdly educational. It dives deep into Ainu culture, their food, language, traditions. You're legit gonna learn how to cook squirrel stew and skin animals. It's like if National Geographic dropped acid and started making seinen anime. Now let's talk about the tone, because Golden Kamuy is unhinged in the best way. One second you're watching an intense gunfight, next second a guy's making weird moaning noises over miso soup, then someone's fighting a bear, then there's a cooking montage, then war trauma, then poop jokes, then political drama, then a literal breakout dance scene. It's tonal whiplash, and somehow it works. And just when you think you've seen the weirdest character, boom, here comes Tsurumi, the villain with half his brain blown out and facial expressions that belong in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Or Hijikata Toshizo, a fictionalized version of the real samurai from the Shinsengumi, now reimagined as a hardcore outlaw grandpa trying to reclaim Japan through chaos and memes. This show has range, bro. Critics and fans ate it up. The manga won big awards like the Manga Taisho and the Teitsuka Osama Cultural Prize, with 29 million copies sold. The live-action movie even hit #1 in Japan, which, let's be honest, is kinda wild considering it has scenes where people fight naked in the snow with intense eye contact. Yeah, that happened. The anime, while amazing story-wise, had some iffy CGI moments early on. Looking at you, cursed Season 1 bear. But it gets better with each season, especially once the showrunners fully embrace the chaos and double down on what makes it weirdly great. Okay, so how does this fit into the adult anime vibe? Easy. Sugimoto is a war veteran. He's seen hell, lived through it, and now he's trying to find purpose in the mess that's left behind. He's not chasing dreams, he's chasing a promise. And you can feel the weight of that in every decision he makes. Plus the themes, war trauma, survivor's guilt, morality versus survival, and cultural identity. This ain't kiddie anime. And while Asirpa's technically a kid, she's not your average child companion. She's the brains of the operation, the heart of the show, and the culture keeper. Her relationship with Sugimoto isn't some sappy, protect the little one trope. It's mutual respect and emotional healing. That's adult-level storytelling, 100%. So why should you watch it? Because no other anime blends history, gore, survival, humor, and cooking with this level of skill. You'll laugh, you'll gag, you'll clutch your pearls, and you'll probably Google how to make Hina Hina Squirrel Hot Pot. And through all of it, you'll find yourself falling for this weird little family made up of war vets, indigenous hunters, escaped criminals, and unhinged ex-samurai. Golden Kamuy is like if Attack on Titan, Bear Grylls, and Hell's Kitchen had a very violent, very culturally specific baby. That's Golden Kamuy. Total chaos, absolute banger.
Quick pause, real talk. If you've made it this far and your watch list is already crying for help, good. That means you're vibing with this video. So hey, stab that like button like it owes you gold, drop a comment with the anime that broke your soul the hardest, I'm watching, and if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button like you're Sugimoto charging into a bear den. This channel's all about anime that hits, hurts, and heals, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, breathing breaks over, back to the emotional carnage.
Alright, let's slide into something way more low-key, but somehow even more emotionally destructive. From snow-covered shootouts to a quiet stage with a single cushion and centuries of pain. Yep, it's time for Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju. Alright, so if Golden Kamuy was raw survival and chaos, Rakugo Shinju is like sitting in a quiet, candlelit room with a glass of sake while someone tells you a story so personal you forget to breathe. At the core of it, Rakugo, an old-school Japanese art of solo storytelling. One performer,
one cushion, and they just sit there changing voices and expressions, telling long-ass tales. Funny, sad, creepy, whatever. No flashy visuals, no action, just pure performance. Now, the anime starts with this guy, Yotaro, fresh out of prison, who's like, "Yo, I saw you perform once and it changed my life. Please teach me." He says this to Yakumo Yurakute, an absolute legend in the Rakugo world. Super stoic, classy, elegant, guy's basically the Severus Snape of storytelling. And then we jump way back to Yakumo's younger days, when he was still Kikuhiko, and that's where the heartbreak begins. You get this deep dive into the history of Rakugo through Kikuhiko's story. He's this quiet, reserved kid who lost the use of his leg as a child. He's paired up with Sukeroku, his total opposite. Loud, passionate, impulsive, basically the chaotic best friend energy you know is gonna end in tears. And they both fall in love with the same woman, Miyokichi, who is, well, a walking red flag wrapped in tragedy. And the three of them form this tense, messy triangle of love, jealousy, artistic rivalry, and straight-up emotional landmines. And, it's beautifully written, but it's also brutal. The show builds up this family, this friendship, this career, and then breaks it piece by piece, like watching this slow-motion car crash set to traditional jazz. Now, don't get it twisted. This ain't just about romance drama. It's also about legacy, about what it means to carry a dying art, about how tradition can smother you, and how performance becomes a prison when it's tied to trauma. Kikuhiko eventually becomes the new Yakumo, this cold, revered master of Rakugo. But beneath that calm exterior, he's haunted. Every show he performs feels like penance. Every student reminds him of what he's lost. And then there's Konatsu, Sukeroku and Miyokichi's daughter, who wants to perform Rakugo too, but can't because women aren't allowed. So there's this extra layer of gender politics, resentment, and unspoken grief. It's heavy stuff. Critics loved it, universally praised for being a modern masterpiece. The animation? Surprisingly gorgeous for a story with zero action. The animation, the lighting, the direction, it all works together to feel like a live performance. And the music? That old-timey jazz fusion with traditional Japanese vibes slaps harder than expected. The manga won major awards, and the anime adaptation is often ranked among the top adult dramas in anime history. It's one of those shows people describe as art, and not in a pretentious way, just genuinely beautiful storytelling. So what makes this so adult? Everything. The characters are grown, actually navigating adult life. It's about regret, ambition, sacrifice, loneliness, and the choices that define a whole life. There are no right answers in this show, just people trying to do their best and hurting each other anyway. Yakumo isn't a good guy. He's complicated, flawed, cold, sometimes selfish. But you get him. You understand why he is the way he is. And that's what makes this show hit so hard. Because we all have regrets, right? We all have that one thing we wish we could have done differently. This anime just sits you down and makes you sit with that. So why watch it? Because it's not just a story about performance, it is a performance. It's a life story wrapped in an art form, and it'll sneak up on you emotionally. One second you're like, this is kind of slow. And the next you're curled up in a ball whispering, why did they have to suffer like this? And if you've ever felt like you were chasing a dream that nobody else cared about or holding on to something because letting go would mean admitting it's over, then this show gets you. It's not a comfort watch. It's a sit down and feel things watch. And sometimes that's what you need. That's Shougen Roku Rakugo Shinju, masterpiece status. Right, strap in, because next up, we're diving headfirst into the emotional mosh pit known as Nana. And listen, this anime, it hurts. It's raw, it's messy, and it might just be one of the realest portrayals of young adult chaos out there. So boom, you got two women, both named Nana, completely different vibes, same train to Tokyo. Destiny? Coincidence? God just rolling dice for fun? Who knows? But their meeting changes everything. Nana Komatsu, aka Hachi, is a sweet, emotional disaster. She's 20, impulsive, super clingy, and honestly, kind of just floats through life looking for love in all the wrong places. She moves to Tokyo to chase her boyfriend, which, yikes, but ends up chasing something deeper. Connection, purpose, maybe even a version of herself she hasn't met yet. Then we got Nana Asaki, punk rock queen, chain smoker, voice like sandpaper dipped in glitter. She's also 20, but way more intense. Abandoned as a kid, raised herself, chasing fame with her band Blast, and still madly in love with her ex Ren, now the bassist of rival mega band Trap Nest. She's everything Hachi isn't: focused, fierce, guarded, but just as lonely underneath all that eyeliner and leather. And when these two become roommates, best believe shit gets real. What makes Nana different from your usual anime? It's not about school, or fantasy, or power-ups. It's about adulthood, raw, unfiltered, no plot armor included. It's about messy breakups, abusive relationships, unwanted pregnancies, fame, betrayal, heartbreak, and friendship that cuts deeper than any romance. This anime doesn't just flirt with pain, it slow dances with it in the rain while smoking a cigarette. At first, their friendship is goals. Hachi finds comfort in Nana's strength, and Nana finds peace in Hachi's warmth. But over time, that bond starts to twist. Jealousy creeps in, codependency forms. Lovers enter, lovers leave, and the two start drifting, together, but also apart. It's tragically relatable, and the music slaps. Blast and Trap Nest have actual bangers. The songs aren't just background noise, they're emotional extensions of the characters. When Nana Asaki performs, you feel her pain in every lyric, every scream. The vibes are peak 2000s rock energy, with songs by Anna Tsuya and Olivia Lufkin giving you all the angst your soul didn't know it needed. Also, the fashion is immaculate. Nana Asaki serves goth punk queen looks every damn episode, while Hachi leans into her soft, trendy office girl aesthetic. It's like a living issue of Fruits magazine. Now let's talk about how fans received it. People adore this series, especially for its complex female friendship, which you rarely get in anime at this level. Like, forget the tropey girl best friends who just giggle about boys. This is real. These girls love each other, deeply, messily, in ways they don't even understand. It's been described as watching old friends slowly self-destruct. And yeah, that sums it up. But it's not without flaws. Later in the story, especially as Hachi gets stuck in a toxic relationship with Takumi, one of the most hateable anime men ever, no notes, things start to spiral hard. Some viewers feel the show lost sight of its strongest thread, the friendship. And with the manga still on indefinite hiatus because of the author's health, there's no closure. But maybe that's the point. Life doesn't always wrap up in neat bows. Some relationships just pause. So how does this fit into the adult anime space? It's textbook adulting. Everyone in this show is trying to figure out who they are while the world just keeps throwing curveballs. Hachi's obsession with being loved. Nana's fear of being abandoned. That's real. That's growing up. It's messy. It's painful. And it's honest. They make mistakes. Big ones. Ones that hurt themselves and each other. But they keep moving, because what else can you do? Also, it's refreshingly female-centered. Like, this isn't just about love interests. It's about self-worth, ambition, sacrifice, and the bond between two women trying to navigate their lives in a city that never stops spinning. So why should you watch Nana? Because it's one of the most raw, emotional, stylish, devastating, and true-to-life anime you'll ever experience. You'll fall in love with these characters. You'll scream at their decisions. You'll cry, maybe even ugly cry. And if you've ever been 20-something and lost, or loved someone so much it scared you, this show will hit so hard. It's not just an anime. It's a fever dream of youth, heartbreak, and music, and you'll never forget it. That's Nana. Gorgeous, gutting, unfinished, iconic.
Let's get it. Next on the list is the relatable, rage-screaming corporate survival anime we all needed but didn't know we did. Agretsuko. This one's cute on the outside, but under the surface, pure millennial pain with a blast beat. Alright, so imagine this. You're a 25-year-old red panda in Tokyo working in the accounting department of a soulless corporation. Your boss is a literal pig. Your coworkers either gaslight you, dump their work on you, or hit you with passive-aggressive microaggressions. Sound familiar? That's Retsuko's life in Agretsuko. And how does she cope? Not with yoga or therapy or whatever influencers on Instagram try to sell you. Nah, she goes to a karaoke booth and screams her lungs out to death metal. Full-on demonic growling, blasting her stress at 120 BPM. Honestly, queen behavior. But don't let the cutesy Sanrio design fool you. Yeah, she looks like she belongs next to Hello Kitty, but this show is millennial and Gen Z existential dread in a business casual outfit. Every season hits on some painfully real adult issue. Season 1 is all about hating your job and not knowing how to quit. Season 2 is chasing marriage because you think that's what adulthood should look like. Season 3 is like, screw it, I'm gonna be in a band. Season 4 is corporate manipulation and toxic work culture in disguise. Season 5, yep, she's literally running for political office. Because why not? And throughout it all, she's just trying to find peace. Now let's talk about Haida. Her maybe love interest, maybe emotional support doormat. He's an awkward metalhead hyena who's ride or die for Retsuko, but also makes things messy. Their will they, won't they saga stretches over multiple seasons and feels like watching two emotionally stunted adults try to build IKEA furniture without instructions or tools. And shout out to the real MVPs. Feneko, the social media stalking bestie with deadpan one-liners. Director Tan, literal pig boss, who eventually grows on you somehow. And Gori and Washimi, the badass business queens Retsuko desperately needed in her life. Now the reception, chef's kiss. Season 1 hit 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics loved its ability to balance adorable visuals with biting social commentary. They called it insightful, relatable, and surprisingly deep. People saw Retsuko and were like, oh damn, that's me. By season 3, it was tackling parasocial relationships, burnout, capitalism, and even internet mobs. One minute you're laughing, next minute you're staring at your screen like, why is this fuzzy red panda making me question my entire life? And it never loses its edge. Even as the plot evolves, it keeps reflecting back at us. The crushing weight of expectations, the slow death of youthful dreams, the frustration of wanting more but not knowing how to get it. So why is this a certified adult anime? Because it perfectly captures what it's like to be a 20-something or 30-something just trying to survive. You wake up tired, you deal with disrespect, you pretend everything is fine, and then you go home and scream into the void, except in Retsuko's case, the void is a mic and some guttural vocals. She's not trying to save the world, she's just trying to make it through the day. And that's what makes her so real. Whether it's crappy managers, toxic relationships, social pressure, or should I move out or stay with my parents another year crises, she's us, all of us. So why should you watch it? Because it's funny, fast, and painfully accurate. It's one of the few shows that turns the 9-to-5 struggle into something cathartic and entertaining. And let's be real, sometimes it feels good to see a character say screw this and scream about their life at full volume, even if they're a red panda in a pencil skirt. Plus, it's only 15-minute episodes. You could binge a whole season on your lunch break and still have time to cry about your inbox. That's Agretsuko. Rage, relatability, Retsuko, all wrapped in a metal scream.
Time for some heists, hustle, and heartbreak with a side of international flavor. Yep, next on the list is The Great Pretender. And this one's smooth, stylish, and surprisingly emotional once you peel back the layers. So, right out the gate, this anime is sexy as hell. Not in the fan service way, but in the color palette, vibes, and swagger. It's basically Lupin 3 meets Catch Me If You Can meets emotionalbaggage.jpg. We follow Makoto Edamura, a down-bad con artist in Japan who thinks he's slick, calls himself Japan's greatest swindler. Spoiler, he's not. He tries to scam a random foreign tourist one day and gets reverse uno'd by Laurent Thierry, a legit global-class con man with the charisma of a Bond villain and the heart of a tragic romance novel. Next thing Edamura knows, he's flying to LA, getting dragged into a massive drug cartel con with a fake pharmaceutical hustle, an undercover actress, and a dude who probably owns 3 tiger rugs. And that's just case 1. The anime is broken into 4 cases, each set in a different country with a different big con. LA connection, Hollywood drug ring, Singapore, sky, rigging air races. Yes, air races are real. Snow of London, art auctions and forgery. Wizard of Far East, ugh, mafia, betrayal, childhood trauma, and full-on backstory pain. And in each case, the crew runs these insane, multi-layered cons, tricking villains who are definitely worse than they are. Rich predators, human traffickers, corrupt moguls, eat the rich level scumbags. But what hits hard is that each con ties into a personal wound from someone on the team. And speaking of the team, this cast is stacked. Laurent, French, suave, manipulative, tragic past, honestly way too charming to trust. Abby, ex-child soldier turned muscle. She's got 0 patience and can snap your neck in a second. Also, secret softie. Cynthia, former actress, sharp, seductive, emotionally mature, low-key the emotional anchor of the crew. And Edamura starts off cocky, turns into the emotional core of the entire show. Dude goes from rookie scammer to, wait, are we the baddies? Levels of self-awareness. The animation, gorgeous.
It's made by Wit Studio, aka Attack on Titan Season 1 through 3, Vinland Saga, and they just went wild with it. Bright neon colors, slick transitions, and wild scene direction. The art style doesn't try to be real. It tries to be cool, and it works. And the ending theme is literally The Great Pretender by Freddie Mercury. No joke. First anime ever to use that track officially. You hear that piano, and boom, you're in your feels. Now, this show isn't just about heists and flexing. It's about trauma, morality, and how people use lies to protect themselves. Every member of the team is broken in some way, and every case is a step towards either healing or breaking further. Like, yeah, they're scammers, but they've all been scammed by life first. It's kind of poetic like that. Also, Edamura's character arc, low-key one of the best in recent anime. He starts off trying to survive, then gets swallowed by the game, and by the end, he's questioning everything. The morality of what they're doing, the impact, the consequences. He grows up hard over 23 episodes. So, where does it fit on the adult anime list? It's got full-blown adult characters dealing with adult trauma, global crime, not high school drama, moral gray zones instead of black and white, good versus evil, themes like child exploitation, grief, addiction, and corruption. This ain't your after-school special. This is we lie to survive meets can we ever be good again territory. And the fact that it explores these ideas through con jobs and elaborate schemes, genius. So, why should you watch it? Because it's a con anime with heart. It gives you that thrill of watching master plans unfold, the oh shit, they did not just pull that off energy, and then sucker punches you with real emotions. Also, international vibes are strong here. LA, Singapore, London, Shanghai. The show's got global flavor, tons of pop culture nods, and slick English language moments sprinkled throughout. If you love shows where characters are smart, the schemes are wilder than a Death Note chess match, and every episode ends with a smirk and a, oh, just wait, this one's calling your name. That's The Great Pretender, flashy on the outside, heavy on the inside, and smoother than Laurent's pickup lines.
All right, time to mentally prepare yourself because we're stepping into one of the most gorgeous, heart-wrenching, emotionally healing anime ever made. Get ready to feel every suppressed tear you've been dodging for the last decade. This is Violet Evergarden. Okay, so imagine being a child soldier, like legit trained to kill from day one, emotionless, efficient, treated like a weapon, not a person. That's Violet Evergarden. The war ends, and suddenly she's left with nothing but 2 mechanical arms and the last words from the one person who ever showed her kindness. I love you. And she has no idea what that even means. Bruh, I'm already crying. Violet's post-war journey starts with her trying to adapt to a normal life, which, like, how? She's emotionally stunted, has 0 social skills, and can barely tell if someone's angry, sad, or just constipated. But she's taken in by a postal company and ends up becoming an auto-memory doll, basically a ghostwriter who turns people's emotions into letters. So every episode, she's writing someone else's deepest feelings, even as she's trying to figure out her own. And that contrast, that contrast hurts. Because she helps people find closure, confess love, say goodbye, while not fully understanding any of it. And the episodes? Absolute emotional landmines. Like, one's about a playwright who lost his daughter and can't move on. Another's about a dying mother writing letters to her daughter for when she grows up. There's a whole episode that will rip your spine out emotionally, and you'll thank it for doing so. It's like a new heartbreak every week, wrapped in beauty. Now, let's talk about the visuals. This anime is animated by Kyoto Animation, and when I say this show is art, I mean art. Every frame looks like a painting. The lighting, the reflections in Violet's eyes, the way her mechanical hands move, it's stupidly beautiful. Like, you could pause it any second and make it your desktop background. No notes. And don't even get me started on the soundtrack. That piano, that violin, that I just got emotionally gut-punched and now the music's tucking me in with a blanket of pain. Yeah, that one. Critics lost their minds. It won Best Animation at both the IGN and Crunchyroll Awards. Yui Ishikawa, Violet's voice actress, won Best Leading Role at the Seiyu Awards. The light novel it's based on won Kyoto Animation's Grand Prize, which almost never happens. And fans, they talk about this anime like it's spiritually adopted them. There's even a movie that wraps everything up and delivers even more emotional damage in full cinematic glory. Bring tissue, like industrial packs. Now, as far as adult anime goes, Violet's story isn't about school crushes or saving the world. It's about healing from trauma, understanding love and grief, finding purpose when everything you were built for no longer matters. It's an exploration of post-war PTSD told through the quietest, softest moments, like trying to write the perfect goodbye or understanding that "I love you" isn't just something you say, it's something you live. And it doesn't rush that growth. Violet evolves gradually from a blank, monotone soldier into someone who cries, smiles, empathizes, and every step of that journey is earned. So why should you watch it? Because it's a masterpiece, straight up. It teaches you that emotions aren't weaknesses, that words carry weight, that healing takes time, and that even someone built for war can learn to love. You're gonna cry. You might ugly cry, but you'll come out the other side feeling weirdly comforted, like someone just reached through the screen and patted your soul. Also, it has zero filler. Every episode hits. Every second matters. It's not flashy, but it does not miss. That's Violet Evergarden. Pain, growth, beauty, all in 13 episodes and a movie that will emotionally end you in a good way.
Let's bring this baby home. Final stop on this wild, emotional roller coaster of adult anime, Odd Taxi. And let me tell you, this one, it sneaks up on you. It's quiet, weird, hilarious, low-key genius, and then suddenly, you're 12 episodes deep, questioning reality and whispering, "What the hell did I just watch?" All right, so here's the setup. We're in Tokyo. Everyone's an animal, like literally, anthropomorphic animals. Our main dude, Hiroshi Odokawa, a 41-year-old walrus taxi driver who looks like he hasn't smiled since dial-up internet. He minds his business, drives his cab, listens to his passengers' nonsense, but then this missing high school girl case pops up, and suddenly Odokawa is just a little too involved. And by the time the Yakuza, corrupt cops, comedians, and idol groups get involved, yeah, we're way past just a cab ride. Now look, at first glance, this show might seem chill, slice of life with funny animal banter, but nah fam, this is full-on noir. Every character Odokawa picks up, connected. Every side story comes back later. Every dumb joke has consequences. This is that 4D chess while eating ramen at midnight type of writing. And what makes it even better? The dialogue. It's sharp, dry, awkward, and real. Like, it doesn't feel written, it feels eavesdropped. Some of the convos sound like Twitter threads turned into podcast debates. Others, full-on therapy sessions disguised as small talk. Let's talk about Odokawa for a second. This guy, quiet, awkward, hates people, lives alone, doesn't even have a smartphone, but you start realizing he's watching everything. He picks up on details, he listens more than he speaks, and behind those dead walrus eyes, there's a whole damn trauma story brewing. He's one of the most realistic portrayals of middle-aged isolation I've ever seen in anime. Like, this dude is tired of everything, but still trying, still showing up, still giving people rides and kinda sorta caring. And when you find out what his deal really is, mind blown. Like, this show has one of the cleanest, smartest plot twists in modern anime. No spoilers, but when it drops, you'll want to rewatch the whole thing just to catch all the clues. Now let's not forget the supporting cast. A broke janitor trying to get laid through Tinder and NFTs. Yes, really. A struggling stand-up comedy duo who absolutely do not have their lives together. An obsessed teen going full psycho over a gacha app. A cop who's working with the mob. An idol group where one member's got a knife and serious beef. And the crazy part? They all tie back to Odokawa. This show is a spiderweb of stories, and the further you go, the more tangled it gets. It's masterfully built, and when it clicks hard. Visually, yeah, it's minimalist, but purposefully so. The art style throws you off guard. You're thinking, oh, cute animal characters, this'll be cozy, but that's just bait. The color palette, the framing, the music, everything adds to this quiet tension that builds and builds until the last few episodes explode. And oh man, the soundtrack, low-key fire. That opening theme, bop, instant add to playlist. Also, fun detail, they recorded all the dialogue before animating. Rare in anime. So the performances feel supernatural, like you're actually eavesdropping on some late-night taxi rides through Tokyo. So yeah, why is Odd Taxi such a perfect adult anime? Because it's about loneliness, missed connections, people lying to survive, the way modern life messes with your brain. There's no magic, no fighting, no explosions, just people trying to get by, trying to be seen, trying not to disappear. Even though everyone's drawn like animals, the show is painfully human. And that twist takes it from, damn, this is clever, to, oh shit, this was a masterpiece. So why should you watch Odd Taxi? Because it's tight, smart, weird, and unforgettable. It's like BoJack Horseman meets Fargo, with a splash of Pulp Fiction pacing and Black Mirror themes. If you love character-driven mystery, clever writing, and stories that make you rethink everything by episode 12, this one's for you. That's Odd Taxi, the final stop, the last twist, the big mic drop.
All right, folks, that's it for this emotional roller coaster of adult pain, healing, and, oh god, I felt that in my soul, anime. I hope you enjoyed it, because I definitely enjoyed revisiting every single existential crisis these characters went through. Some of these stories hit like a truck, and some just quietly haunt you for years. But hey, that's adulthood, right? Now, I want to hear from you. Which anime hit you the hardest? Are there any adult-focused anime you think more people need to see? And be honest, how many of these made you cry or stare at the ceiling afterward? I'll be lurking in the comments, nodding that your trauma like, yeah, same. Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end. You're the real MVP. Punch that like button like it just offered you unpaid overtime, and slam that subscribe button like you just found your dream anime after months of mid-tier trash. And again, thank you for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. Remember, life's hard, anime's therapy, and healing starts when the opening theme hits. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.